What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome back to another episode of Found Footage Fridays.
Hey, everybody.
Thanksgiving has passed by the time this goes out, and everyone's either thinking about how much they love their family or how much they're glad they don't have to see them until Christmas. So we thought it would be fun to talk about a movie that's all about family. And that's going to be the 2015 found footage movie called The Visit. I always forget which way to point to.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the screen. I'm getting down with the editing as far as like how I'm able to do these like super quick now because I've gotten used to how I'm supposed to do everything. It's funny. So okay, let's see. So far, as of right now, I mean, this is an older movie. 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, a 3.5 out of 5 on Vudu, 73% on the Google, 51% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay. And that's probably got a lot more ratings and reviews than a typical found footage film.
I would agree. Yes, this is a little more what you would call like mainstream found footage because it's done by M. Night Shyamalan.
Pop found footage.
Pop, that's right. Trademark.
Yes. Trademark. We trademark a lot of things on this show. If this is your first episode, we like self-reference like ourselves from previous episodes. So.
We really do. What'll happen is eventually there will be so many of them. There will be like a scrolling list at the end of every episode of all the things no one's allowed to say unless they pay us money.
So you really should go back and watch these episodes in order.
That's true.
It's sequential.
Because otherwise things aren't going to always make sense.
No.
So, my God. Okay. Two siblings become increasingly frightened by their grandparents' disturbing behavior while visiting them on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And the cover is really cool. You'll have already seen it, but I'm going to read what it says. Grandma's rules. Number 1, have a great time. Number 2, eat as much as you want. Number 3, don't ever leave your room after 9:30 p.m.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. From the director of The Sixth Sense and Signs and the producer of Paranormal Activity and Insidious.
And that's very important to know.
It is important to know.
Really is a big difference between this movie and pretty much every found footage movie that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
This is not just a mainstream sort of movie, but a major director. Writer, film, whatever you want. M. Night Shyamalan. This is him trying his hand at found footage, and so in a way, it already is immediately sort of different in my brain.
I agree,
because one of the things about found footage is like it's supposed to be just like found footage that's no really idea, it's an unknown director, who knows where it really came from,
with faces you've never seen before.
Right. That is not the case in this movie. There are known actors, like Catherine Hahn is in this movie for one. Yes, and so I'm not gonna use that as like a negative against this movie. That's not really fair because it is a good movie. But admittedly, that's sort of like an unfair bias I have about this movie. Is that I feel like, this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie rather than this is a found footage movie.
Well, yeah.
That could be real, but isn't really real. We don't actually believe they're real.
Yeah. Well, and you're right in the sense too of like, you go into his movies expecting really bizarre twist. Like, at least for me, like that's what I always associate him with, because he became, his name grew in popularity after The Sixth Sense because of the ending. The ending was just like, what? And so I always go into anything I know he's had his hands in expecting some like crazy revelation, at the end of the film, which, you'll have to stick around for the spoilers part or go see the movie to figure out if that's a thing or not. But so it sounds like you're going to rate this lower than I did. So I'm curious what your rating is.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. It's a good found footage movie, everyone. Don't get me wrong. I am going to should I do this right now? Should I just go for it? And
Yeah,
okay,
do it.
I am going to rate this movie a solid 7.
Okay.
And that's pretty good.
I'm
I
not
mean, it's
mad.
very good. That's very good.
If you had
Yeah.
said like a 2, I would have been like, really?
No.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
No, 7 solid.
Yeah. What about you?
This is an 8 for me.
Okay. See, you're not that much. We're not that far
I
off.
still knew I liked it more. I could tell already.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, so I think what is important to note that it does really well as a found footage movie is there's like no special effects. Like it's literally
Yep.
just, and I know people don't like when you say things like this, but like it's really just the grandparents being creepy because they're old. And
Yeah.
it starts out with that image, that message, that point, right? And then as the movie moves forward and things start to become a little more clear, and then of course, like we learn more about what's going on, it kind of takes a different turn in the meaning of I think what it all kind of is about. And I
Yeah.
appreciated that about it. So there's another YouTuber I've watched do a few reviews who really does not like when old people are used as like the villains or the bad guys because it's, like
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
they just
I
have
get
like a
that.
problem
Yeah.
with that. Um, but I think it works from a trust perspective because I think like when you think the elderly or you think like grandparents specifically, you're thinking cozies and like cookies and happy, like warm, cuddly, soft, comfortable feelings, right? You're not
Yeah.
thinking anything sinister. And I think that helps with the setup for the story because the kids have no reason to think anything. Yeah, we're just going to go see our grandparents.
Yeah.
And I just think that was really smart, even though I know a lot of people don't really care for that thing, that whole like concept. I think it just works really well because there's
Yeah.
a natural trust there. And we always talk about how annoying it is when we see movies where people get these red flags and they don't leave, or
Yeah.
they go into people's houses and sleep in these beds they don't know, or they go and they do this, or they go and they do that. But at least here it made sense. And I think the
That-
scares are super effective. The atmosphere, the acting. I mean, like, yeah, I really like this movie.
yeah. I mean, like, it didn't have a lot of the problems that we find often with found
No,
footage
yeah.
films. And I think that means M. Night really did his homework. Whether
Yes.
or not he's a fan of found footage or not, I don't know.
I have
But
no
he
idea.
got a lot of stuff right.
Yeah.
It was believable that
Uh-huh.
they wouldn't run away screaming.
Yes.
They call their mom, and their mom says, they're just old." I think something
Yeah.
like that. And I think a lot of us probably have memories as kids, like staying at a relative's house or something,
Mhm.
and probably everyone's parents would have responded in a similar way.
Yeah, they're like, "You're fine, calm down." Like,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah, you're
yeah.
homesick, whatever. Like, um, so like that was smart. I love the don't leave your room after 9:30 thing. Very Gremlins, don't feed them after midnight sort of thing. We also reference the Gremlins a lot on this show. Um, we do.
We do. But it
Um,
does come up, you're right.
it does come up. So, and that's smart because like when you set a bar like that, it's going to be broken in the movie, and
Yeah.
don't do this set right at the beginning of the movie. Okay, well, we're going to do that. The
And you're
Pandora's
also
box
and then
thing.
also too, you're like, "Okay, but why not?"
Right.
Like, is it just an early bedtime? Why did you say it like that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, don't open Pandora's box, right? Except
yeah,
I
it's
really
like
want to. I want to see
an
why. Like,
immediate intrigue, yeah.
yeah, I love that. And they play that up really well. I mean, obviously they use it in the marketing and the advertising. Um, yeah, the very that was very smart. And very smart that like the whole there is not the problem of like who's holding the camera, really, that kind of stuff. There's not the problem where we've seen where in our last episode, even like jumping back and forth between mockumentary style versus nope, this is just two kids holding their camcorder, and He made it simple. He didn't make that too complicated, and I think that was really smart. This movie is smart. It's a you can tell he's a seasoned filmmaker, and it's probably, even stepping outside of like found footage land, it's probably my favorite of M. Night Shyamalan's movies in a really long time. He's made a few duds recently, I would say, or a number of duds, but this one is good. This one's solid, and it's, I think, a little bit or way outside of his comfort zone, way outside of the typical movie that he makes. It
Well,
is though. It is very polished, though. I would say it's very.
it is
It's a high budget
high
movie. It has
production.
to be a high budget, high production. You know what I mean? Like just the people who are cast, the director and writer himself. Like this is not a movie that would end up on Tubi, right? This is a movie that, unless it is, am I wrong? Is it on Tubi? No, and that's nothing wrong with Tubi, but like this is this was in theaters. How many found footage movies are in theaters, everyone? How many can you name?
Not many, a handful.
Blair Witch.
This is on Hulu and YouTube TV. Everywhere else you have to rent it.
That's a good point, though. Like, sorry, I'm just saying. I just made a good point. I'm saying that Tom. I just made it. Yeah,
Tom is brilliant. Yes.
We haven't talked about that before. That there are very few found footage movies that end up on the big screen, right? I don't even know how many we've talked about.
We haven't, but my prediction is that's about to change.
I agree. I think
in the next year or two, maybe 3 years, I think we're going to start to see, because as it's picking up momentum and popularity, they're going to want to make the box office sales off of it.
Yeah, especially when you're seeing sort of like smaller budget horror movies do really well, a la Terrifier 2. You're seeing stuff like that.
Smile broke a bunch of records too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen that yet, but it's now
I just watched it. It's on Paramount Plus.
I know. I want to see it this weekend.
You have to message me after you watch it. I need more people to talk about this movie.
I will definitely. Yeah, but that's I think why. Is it Jonathan Winter who did Deadstream? Is it not Jonathan Winter?
Jonathan
something Winter? I forget. The guy who did Deadstream. He's gonna be the one, I think, that gets a found footage movie in theaters soon. Another one.
Probably, yeah.
But I mean, I could think of Blair Witch, The Visit. What else? Can you name one?
Quarantine.
Is that in theaters?
Yeah, I went and saw it in theaters.
Oh, well, I mean, Cloverfield, I guess. Again, like big, Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity, yeah.
But there aren't many.
Well, and what's true is I don't think the standard for that is the same in other countries, because like there's a lot of Asian found footage movies that break records and stuff in box office, I think. So I'm trying to think of the one that it's one of the big ones. It's like either Gonjiam or what's the other one? Noroi, The Curse, or whatever.
What do you think one of those was?
I think one of those like broke a record in the box office for like its opening weekend or something like that. But it wasn't released in the States yet. It was.
I think a movie like Gonjiam or some of these would be so effective.
So scary.
So scary. Much scarier on the big screen. If you're like feeling like you're in the movie. I mean, that's what happened with Blair Witch. That's what happened with Blair Witch. It had this sort of, phenomenon sort of effect that we're hearing a lot about with this Terrifier 2 right now. And the marketing was all about, people fainting in the aisles and like all of that stuff. Like, I feel like found footage should be on the big screen.
I agree. Yeah, Gonjiam would have been very hard to get through, I think, on the big screen. It would have been scary.
Great, though. It should be.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, no, it's all good. But it was, my point is, I'm adding to your point, because it was scary on my regular TV. But yeah, so yeah, this one, this is definitely a bigger budget one, though. I think that one of the things that I think does work in his favor, though, is that M. Night is always like trying to be outside of the box, and I think you have to have kind of an out of the box thinking head, brain, whatever,
Yeah.
words are hard. To do found footage, because you do have to get creative. You do have to, think outside the box. And I think that that's one of the reasons that he did well with it, was because he kind of already does that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, another good thing about him is that even his movies that I didn't like,
Mhm.
all of his movies are still well made, good. They're good movies. They're good
Yeah,
films. Whether or not you like the ending or you like the twist, they're well made
they are
always.
well made. Yes.
And I always enjoy watching his movies. And often I don't even know until the last few minutes whether or not I'm gonna like it or not, which isn't fair. Like because I'll like 98% of the movie, right?
I
And then be
know.
like,
And then
and that's
I
almost
know.
all of his movies. Like that is you're like waiting to see what he does. Does he mess it up at the end?
'Cause
He's doing coming out very soon. One of my favorite books I read recently was The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, and M Night's doing it, and it's going to be called A Knock at the Door, I believe, or Knock at the Cabin, something like that.
That's based off of that book.
It is, yeah. They
So
changed.
I saw a Knock at the Cabin or whatever. I just watched the trailer for that, or was it a teaser or something for it, like yesterday, day before?
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Oh, yeah.
I think there's a teaser out for it.
It's M Night. He's doing it, and it's adapted from that book, which you really should read. It's great.
The only book of his I own so far is Head Full of Ghost.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I've heard really great things about it. I just, slow reader. I'll get to it though.
I've met him. He's a good guy. So I'm talking about his books once at a library. So, anyways, we're like going.
We were so good on the one before. We're like done. But anyway, so The Visit.
Did we do our ratings? I'm like so.
Yes.
We
did our ratings, and I'm pretty sure we've covered Unspoiled, so we can
spoil the crap out of this movie.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think it made a lot of sense that she sent her kids alone to go see grandparents they've never met before.
Nope, didn't make a lot of sense.
That was a storyline flaw.
I guess so. Yeah.
But
it was necessary though to tell this.
I was going to say, but at the same time, I understand that it's obviously because of what they the ending, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, okay. So full disclosure, the scene under the house was like the most uncomfortable scene when they're playing under the house, and like, oh my god,
that's great. No, that's great. The actress who plays the grandmother is really good. She's really talented.
I was just like, oh my god, like it was so creepy and unsettling, and it was so good. And the little boy, the one that plays the brother, is so damn funny. Like,
yeah,
he's like he goes like this. He's like, who am I? And he like runs.
Yeah.
You're just like
well, okay. And so there are a lot of comedic moments, which we don't always like. But I don't know, it feels a little different in this movie. I think it's not too much. I think it could have been scarier.
Yeah.
If I was to really nitpick, maybe that's why I gave it a 7 and not an 8. So small things, but like I thought this movie could have been scarier. He could have leaned more into that stuff. He could have done a little bit less with the funny. I thought the kids are sort of annoying. As the protagonists.
I like the kids. The little boy was a riot.
They're okay. Like a little bit annoying as these primary storytellers here. Not terrible. Again, not mildly, maybe. No, you didn't think so.
No, I think the girl was probably more annoying to me than the little boy. The little boy to me felt very realistic. He felt very with his like rapping and like thinking he's all these things. Like it just felt like
that's true.
I've met little boys exactly like that. Like, so he felt a little more real than the teenage angst did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was also stuff that like was scary and funny at the same time, and maybe wasn't supposed to be funny, but sort of was. Like
Yeah.
when they like walk in, they stumble in, and the grandfather was cleaning his gun, like, oh, just clean him a gun, like, right, that moment, right, he was like looking down the barrel, like that was like
About to shoot his face off.
th-
Yeah.
this movie does a lot of great little like build up, like it gives you a lot of little small things
That you don't
so
know. Like you're trying
no,
to.
yeah, that's very well done, but it was really important the kids didn't actually know the grandparents because they
I
didn't have like
know.
a
I just thought it
baseline
was
for
weird
how
as a
weird they're supposed to
mom
be. Oh yeah,
to like.
okay, I guess Catherine Hahn wasn't big or as big when this movie came out.
Well, it was like what? That was like right before Bad Moms came out. She was in Bad
Right.
Moms, wasn't she? And
But like,
I know what you mean.
yeah, to pick someone that we don't know. Pick. I mean, there are plenty of talent. She's amazing.
It's
She's
nothing
amazing.
against her. I know what you're
But it's
saying.
like,
That's
oh,
like an
there's Catherine Hahn in this movie. Like, it's sort of like,
that's like an expectation for found footage, though.
yeah, don't put people in the movies that we know.
It takes away from the real, like the realistic feel.
Totally does. Totally
Yeah.
does.
Okay, so like obviously, what did you, when you get to the scene when they're, on the laptop and they turn it so the mom can see the grandparents and they turn it back around and she has this look of sheer terror on her face. And she's like, I've got goosebumps, like literal goosebumps. She goes, those are not your grandparents.
Yeah, that moment is.
I have literal goosebumps. Like, ugh.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great storytelling.
Oh my
great
God.
filmmaking.
Did not see that coming. It's very much the Black Christmas, the call is coming from inside the house moment where you're just like, what?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love that moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that moment of just like, what? And then you start thinking, but at least I did. I've seen this movie a couple of times, but I go back to it and I'm like, I did not see that coming. Like there was no mess up, no easy giveaway. Like, okay, all right, no, this is crazy. Like, what the hell? And then you learn they killed the other grandparents.
Yep.
And you're just like,
yeah, that's probably the best moment in the movie.
oh my God. It elevates that experience for that film because otherwise it's very kind of PG-13 horror in the sense that it's just very safe.
Yeah.
As far as like the jump scares are kind of, and like you said, it's got the comedic moments and stuff. But like when she says that, immediately I was going, oh no.
Yeah.
Like her babies are miles and miles and miles and miles away from her. Like I can't like, and then they don't know who it is, what they are supposed to do. And then they have to like fake it. And like, I'm so glad they did that too, because I hate when people learn secrets in horror movies and they don't like try to fake it to keep themselves safe. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
yeah. I mean, I always think it would be pretty easy to survive most horror movies. Like there are just certain things, if you don't do them, you're going to be fine. Like, and that's one of them.
You don't sleep in houses you don't live in.
Yep. Run fast.
Don't go upstairs. Don't trust anyone. There's like,
stay with everyone else.
Okay, like, is there a horror movie you think you couldn't survive?
I don't think in reality I would end up in most of these situations.
I think no, that's fair. I guess you'd have to pick like an apocalyptic one where it's like end of the world and you don't have a choice but to deal with the horror or whatever.
Yeah. Most like traditionally horror movies, like with a slasher, they're not getting me unless it's like, no, honestly, unless it's like Nightmare on Elm Street, where I have to stay awake and I fall asleep and Freddy gets me in my dreams. Like that's probably it. But like Michael Myers, he's not getting me. Jason.
Yeah, they don't really scare me too much. I used to have nightmares about
Chucky is not harming me. I'm sorry. Like that didn't even scare me when I was a kid. Like Chucky, like no.
Chucky scared me as a kid.
No.
I was scared.
And like I'm not an idiot. Like I wouldn't go into any of these haunted houses, any of these found footage movies. I wouldn't go into them. That's why I would survive.
Oh no, I wouldn't do any of that stuff either.
No, no.
I did the ghost hunt that I went on was in like a house. It wasn't like a
Yeah,
abandoned
asylum.
building or someone died yesterday or yeah.
Yeah, if I'm doing that, like I'm having the police wait outside or come with me, one or the other.
Yeah. I know anything with the zombies I wouldn't survive.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't
Well, I
have
mean,
the
I would just literally wouldn't go anywhere. Completely locked down in a 10-story building at the very top. I'd be fine. I'd never leave.
until they knock something over and start a fire on the 4th floor and it's the Towering Inferno.
Right. There's how many times in The Walking Dead were they in a fortress and somehow it wasn't good enough? Yeah.
Always with somebody being stupid, always.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wouldn't survive zombies. But yeah, so that reveal was epic. That's one of his best reveals.
Is. I love that. I love the under the house scene. I really did love the setup though too with the 9:30 and the first time they wake up at night and she's out in the hall just like scratching on the door like
Oh,
and the kids are like, what the hell was that? Like it's perfect. Like that's really good.
it is really good.
I'm like convincing myself to like this movie more than I rated it. Like
good.
the way I'm talking about it, it feels like it's higher than a
that
7.
happens to me too sometimes. That's why I changed my rating on the followed or unfollowed, whichever one it was, the hotel one.
Yeah. Okay, I'm changing it. 7.5. I never do that. 7.5. I'm giving an extra half based on a half a tape.
Half a tape. The ending to me really was just like I think all of the little moments leading up to it too, or they're just enough of uncomfortable that they're not so crazy that you're like, I gotta get the hell up out of here. They're just creepy enough to be like, old people are weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's how they do. That's how they treat this entire film.
Yeah.
Is like it's like, there's old people.
But you had to know there was. You had to know there was going to be a big twist, though. Like you had to know.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. You know what I thought? I thought it was a possession movie.
Yep, and I think that's what he thought everyone was going to think.
Yeah.
So it was really smart. So like,
I definitely thought possession. I really did.
Oh yeah, me too.
Especially because you don't see any of the stuff going on with the grandpa until like way after the fact.
Right. Yep.
You mostly see the grandma saying, he's like, I can't do this. The love of my life is possessed by a demon. I'm going to shoot myself in the face. It all made sense to me. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean,
which if it would have been fine. The movie still probably could have been good if they went, but it wouldn't have had the same effect as what it ended up being. That was much better.
Are you a fan of possession films?
Not some. Really. I think it depends. Yeah. I guess The Taking of Deborah Logan is a possession film, which I liked. Again, old people, though. Again, right? The Last Exorcism was good.
That's another found footage one.
I forget if the one Final Prayer or whatever that is, if that's technically exorcism or if that's. I forget.
I took it as like an elder god kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are the couple that's
so
to me.
Possession is my favorite subgenre of found footage. Because The Devil Within, no.
Okay, well, we talk about like we're the only ones who talk about subgenres of found footage. You know that, right? It's just us. So what are they? We should define.
You know what though? We have the best found footage show ever. So it makes sense that we would be the ones talking about it.
We're talking about like these subgenres of found footage as if everybody knows that those exist. You literally couldn't Google those anywhere. We're making them up right now, I feel like.
Subgenre of people found footage.
People found
footage. That's trademarked.
Running Through the Woods found footage.
That's also trademarked.
Haunted House found footage. Possession found footage.
Aliens. There's the typical monster ones too.
But we talk a lot about people found footage. That's just sort of like everything else. Like it doesn't.
There's that subgenre and then subgenre, and then there's like everything else on the side of that one on the chart.
Yeah.
This
I
is
feel
people found footage.
this is people found footage. I mean, yeah, there's been political found footage recently. Mm, not some of our favorites.
Every time that one in the first, like one of the first ones we did, every time it comes up on my Hulu, I'm like, no.
Yeah. And then last week we reviewed what was it? Project Skyquake,
Project
which is like
Skyquake.
every subgenre smashed into one.
True.
We're gonna do it all. They must have watched our show.
They're
and
like,
just
oh,
amazed
great
it.
idea.
All of that sounds great.
Do you know how fast they would have had to get that movie done? That's so funny.
But M. Night in The Visit, which is the movie we're talking about, this episode has had the most tangents of any episode we've done. But
We've both had long weeks. We're tired.
very, yes. But the Visit doesn't have a ton of subgenres.
It's just people.
But it tricks you into thinking
It does
it's a
trick you.
possession found footage.
It definitely tricks you.
But it's people found footage.
It's people
And pop found footage also.
and pop. 2 trademarks in one.
Yes. M. Night's gonna respond in the comments below. Nope. He's gonna, yes, people found footage. You guys knew.
He's gonna be like,
He's
I
gonna
was
say,
just saying
I
that to
trademark that.
go watch The Visit. It's good.
You should watch it. It's really good.
It is a really good one. It's very creepy. I liked it. Is it rated PG-13? I know I said that, but I
think it
meant
is.
like
It's one of the few. But again, it was in theaters, so most of those was Blair Witch rated
it
PG-13?
was PG-13.
The Visit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Blair Witch is they say the F word.
Oh well, then in that case,
It's rated R. It's strictly because of language. There's like no gore of any kind.
No.
They said the F word 16 times instead of 14, so it's rated R.
That's why I had to sneak in to see it.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, please go see The Visit. And I don't know, what are we talking about? We don't know what we're talking about in our next episode yet.
No, because the one that we are looking forward to isn't out yet.
But it might be Mr. Creep or whatever that is.
Yeah, that one we are going to cover that one because I think we
Yeah.
both were really excited about it. It's right up Tom's alley with clowns.
I think it involves clowns, and I pretty much will watch anything.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, but we don't know what we're doing next. But we have a small list.
Yeah.
And then probably first of the year we're gonna maybe throw in a video that's just a conversation about found footage in general, right? Like some I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Tropes, things that work, things that don't. Endless conversation over here.
Subgenres.
And then within those subgenres, there's subgenres.
We didn't even mention webcam found footage. And,
Oh dear God.
There's a lot of those. And influencer, YouTube, like content creators found footage.
So the official subgenre of found footage is going to be the filming style, and then under those filming styles, each film style will have, vampires, possession, people found footage under it.
People. We should make a movie. It's just going to be called People Found Footage.
Oh God.
Okay, go watch this movie, everyone. Bye.
Go watch The Visit. It's really good. And please don't let this episode keep you from coming back to watch another one.
This episode is 2.5 hours. This episode is longer than any found footage movie you could watch. It's probably longer than Host.
Yeah, well, Host was only the
45 minutes or something. All right. Good night, everybody. See you next week. Happy Friday.
Have a good weekend. Enjoy your week, and we will see you next time.
See you later.